Dear students, we shall see with our next topic on IPv6, that is Internet Protocol version 6, which is also called as IP Next Generation, IPNG. This protocol is designed to be a successor of IPv4, and it has a large address space of 128 bits, which provides approximately of 340 undecillion addresses. Okay, what it means is been given in the slide. So what was the need for this next generation IP? As we all know, the IPv4 addresses were depleting very fast, and even though we make use of NAT box, it was not sufficient with the overgrowth of usage of the internet. And also there were many limitations on using network address translation, like it breaks many applications and has limitations on peer-to-peer communication. So with increasing internet population, there was a limited IPv4 address space, which made us to make a transition to our next generation protocol, that is IPv6. Now, it so happened that we had certain networks working with IPv4, and we had newer generation devices which were on IPv6. So, for certain duration of time, both IPv4 and IPv6 are going to coexist together. Okay, and this transition from IPv4 to IPv6 is expected to take few years. Now, you need to have certain mechanisms which allows us or which takes us through this transition phase. There are few techniques such as having a dual stack or having a tunneling or making use of translation. We have already understood with the concept of tunneling, but however we shall just overlook into these two topics, that is dual stack and translation. So dual stack is having both IPv4 and IPv6 on the devices. That means the devices are aware of both the protocols, right? So dual stack allows IPv4 and v6 to coexist on the same network segment, and the dual stack devices, they run both the protocol stack simultaneously. So whenever a packet hits a particular device which has a dual stack protocols, the device determines how to forward the particular packet or how to process the packet. Making use of tunneling, we have already seen this. It is a method of transporting a IPv6 packet over an IPv4. So your IPv6 packet basically goes as a datagram into your IPv4 packet. So IPv6 packet is completely encapsulated inside an IPv4 packet, which is similar to other types of data. So your IPv6 packet is transmitted as some other packet into your IPv4 packet. One more is making use of NAT box itself, which is called as a translation. Here it is called as NAT64, which allows IPv6 enabled devices to communicate with IPv4 enabled devices using a concept similar to our NAT box. So your IPv6 is translated into an IPv4, and vice versa is done by a router which is aware of this translation. Okay. Now there is a different format for IPv6 address representation, because here the number of bits are 128 in contrast to your IPv4 where the number of bits were 32. Okay, here every 4 bits is represented by a single hexadecimal digit. You have to remember this, every 4 bits is represented by a single hexadecimal digit for a total of 32 hexadecimal value. Here since we represent the bits in terms of hexadecimal, the addresses are not case sensitive, okay, and it can be written in either lowercase or an uppercase. So the preferred format for representing an IPv6 is this. We make use of colons in between the hexadecimal numbers, whereas in case of IPv4 we had used a decimal dot, right? So with each of this x, it consists of 4 hexadecimal values. Okay, we shall see with an example. So here an x is it ranges from 0000 to FFFF. So this is the maximum value in your hexadecimal number system. Okay, so each of these hexadecimal digits, they range from 000 to 1111. So total of 16 binary digits. This is how we segment your IPv6 address, and each of these X, they are termed as hexets. As we had in case of our IPv4 addresses octets, here we have hexets. Each X is called as an hexet because it is made up of 16 binary digits. Okay, you should know this representation for your IPv6 addresses. So in IPv6, a hexet is an unofficial term used to refer a segment of 16 bits or 4 hexadecimal value, and each of this X is equivalent to 16 binary bits or 4 hexadecimal digits, right? Now there are few compression possible with your IPv6 addresses based upon rules. So rule number 1 is we can omit the leading zeros. So if at all you have the address like 01AB, you can represent it as 1AB, or if at all you have 09F0, you can represent it as 9F0. However, leading zeros can be omitted, but trailing zeros cannot be omitted. As you can see in example 2 and 3, in case of example 3, you have 2 trailing zeros and 1 leading zero. Leading zero can be omitted, but trailing zero cannot be omitted. Okay. Again, if at all you see this, you have 2 leading zeros, both can be omitted, and it can be represented as just AB. This is first rule for compressing the size of IPv6 addresses. Second one is you can omit all 0 segment and you can replace it with a double colon. Okay, so a double colon can replace any single continuous string of 1 or more 16-bit segments consisting of all zeros. But however, there is one restriction on it. If at all you have many such type of occurrences, you cannot replace all of them with a colon. You can use it only once. Okay, subsequently we shall see with an example that makes you clear. So when we when used with omitting leading zeros, the notation of IPv6 can often be greatly reduced. So this is called as a compressed format. So let us see with an example. So you have all zeros. Okay, so you cannot omit the leading zeros. You can omit the leading zeros. So you just can represent it like this. In a compressed form, I can just have it as colon colon. Okay, wherein I have all hexets as 0. This is example 1. Let us see with another example wherein I have hexet 1, 2 are valid numbers, 3 and 4 are 0, 5 is a number, 6 and 7 are zeros again, and 8, 1 is 0 again. So if you just observe, 2001 I represent as it is. Since there is a leading 0, I omit it and write it as DB8. Next, I just represent a trailing 0 over here, a trailing 0, ABCD, a trailing 0, and 100. This is first, I've removed all the leading zeros. Next, I try to compress it, 2001, DB8. Now, since I have 2 consecutive hexets to be 0, I just represent it as colon colon followed by ABCD 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. You have to observe one thing over here. I cannot represent this with colon colon now because as per the rule, you can use it only once. You can either use it here or you can use it here. This is what is being done over here. You can have this as a compressed form or you can have this as a compressed form. So here if we see, it becomes 2001 DB8 0 colon 0 colon ABCD. I make use here colon colon 100. Clear? Now what if I have 3 consecutive zeros? Okay, here also the same thing. Initially I just eliminate all the leading zeros if at all there are any. Then I have something like this FE80. I have 3 consecutive hexets to be zeros. I just represent them with colon and colon followed by the number. Similarly, this, right? Okay. Now, if you look at the main features of IPv6, obviously it has longer address than IPv4. One more important thing why IPv6 would be successful is there is simplification of the header. So if you look at IPv4 header, you have 13 fields, whereas in IPv6 you just have 7 fields. So lesser number of header fields, it implies that your router can process the packets faster, and this improves your throughput and reduces the delay, right? There is a better support for option when compared to IPv4, and also you have very good security and quality of services provided in your IPv6. Okay, so this is what I was telling you. In case of IPv6, the header fields are much reduced. You just have version, differentiated services. To have something for your quality of service, you have flow label followed by payload length, next header, and hop limit, source address and destination address. That's it. So if you just observe here, your fields that were related to your fragmentation are completely eliminated. Okay, so this is just a description of the fields over here. So flow label to allow source and destination to set up on a pseudo connection with a particular properties and requirements. Okay. For example, a stream of packets from one process on a certain source of host to a certain process on a certain destination might require a stringent delay requirement and thus reserve the bandwidth. You can mention this in your flow setup. Okay, the same explanation is given over here. Yeah, payload length is of how many bytes that follow the header is follow the 40 byte header is mentioned in this field. The next header field is additional thing which tells one of the extension header is to follow hop limit as we had it in IPv4. The source and destination addresses are 16 byte addresses. Now if you compare between IPv4 and IPv6, you don't have IHL field because in case of IPv6 it has the fixed length. The protocol field is completely taken out because it is decided by our next header field, and all the fields that are related to fragmentation are completely removed because IPv6 takes a different approach for fragmentation. Hopefully when we are discussing about fragmentation, I've discussed this, right? So it is left to the host to fragment the packet as per the lowest required segment length and forward it across, right? So checksum field is also not there in IPv6 because the upper layer, that is the transport layer, and the lower layer, the data link layer, takes care of checksum. Extension headers, some of the missing IPv6, some of the missing IPv4 are occasionally still needed, and there are 6 kinds of extension headers. One is hop count options, hop by hop options, destination options, routing, fragmentation, authentication, encrypted security payload, etc. Right? So this is explanation of each of them, right? When we look with the hop by hop header, which is used for information, every router across the path examines, it supports the datagram exceeding 64 kilobytes. Okay, however 64K was the upper limit in case of our IPv4, but the theory tells that your IPv6 can support the datagrams exceeding 64 kilobytes. Such large datagrams are called as jumbograms. Okay, and these jumbograms are important for supercomputer applications that transfer the gigabytes of data across the internet, right? Again, yeah, the same thing. Fine. Okay, so this ends our discussion on IPv6. We shall see with internet control protocols in our next video. Thank you.